That's got to be safe. All right. Glad they didn't catch that full sentence live. Woo! All right, folks, we're back. We can talk about anything now. Doesn't have to be baseball. Forget I even have this cap on, but I do. I'm keeping it on because I'm full of shame. I am unboxing a comic book on Free Comic Book Day that I thought I had, but I did not. So it's my first time ever to read it. I thought I had it. In fact, I told the guy I had it, and then it turns out I did not. Why are all these comic books in here? Oh, it's one of the things that he sent you other comic books that were crap.
Yep.
That's all they needed. That free comic book. I thought I had this, but I have the other Clone Wars comic book. You know, the one with Obi-Wan and Anakin on it. And I don't have this one, even though now that I'm thinking about it, was this a reprint? Had this been reprinted before? I don't seem to recall it, flipping through it. Because that other one did get a reprint. The Obi-Wan Anakin one. Okay, so no. All right, so I'll read that. They also gave me The World of Cars, Ultimate Spider-Man, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And Toy Story. I'll give some of these to my nephews. I may read the Toy Story one. No, it's got too much words, so I won't.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I'll give those away. Maybe to my little girls. They like Spider-Man. Anyway,
very nice.
We're back. Even though this is what happened, they already bent. This thing's already bent up because they shoved it into the mailbox when it clearly did not fit. Friggin' U.S. mail. I hate them almost as much as I hate Canadians. Oh, that's awkward. Not really.
Are you still streaming?
No, we're doing something different now.
Okay. What's going on?
The children calmed down, so they're kind of sedated for right now. This one's chewing on the power. I mean, he's playing with the power cord.
I know how it is.
So, yeah. But anyway, hello.
What's going on?
It's another great day. What Dylan forgot to mention something, and it wouldn't have meant much on a baseball. No one would have watched it on the baseball stream, Dylan.
Right. But now that we're a Star Wars stream, I can announce.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you pitch it again as we get more viewers, but go ahead, pitch it now.
Yeah, so at Twin Suns, we've got another fundraiser going. We are raising money to bring books to 2 hospitals in the Dallas area. The first is Scottish Rite Hospital for Children, which we've worked with a couple times before. And the second is a new one, Children's Medical Center of Dallas. These donations will actually be headed not by Twin Suns, but the Star Garrison of the 501st. I think in particular the North Star Garrison is going to be actually dropping off these books at the hospital as they are still able to do that, whereas we, for whatever reason, are not. But yeah, we're well over halfway there. We have enough at the moment. We have enough raised to be able to do one of them. We just need to be able to do the other. So yeah, go to twin-suns.net/donate. Donate if you can. If you're in the U.S., all of your donations are tax deductible. As we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, we make sure to file the paperwork and pay the government or the $22 or whatever it is every year to keep that status.
Right. Let me ask you a question, Dylan. And by the way, that's great. That's an ongoing relationship y'all have had with the 501st for some time.
Yeah.
That's basically now kind of being official, right? Y'all are officially linked to them.
Not really, but we
well,
have
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, like y'all have teamed up, and this is kind of a long-lasting relationship now you're going to have.
Yeah.
I don't think that Brian's joining the ranks of the 501st. I didn't mean it that way.
No.
But let me
enough
ask you,
on his hands.
Let me ask you a question. Can you look and see live who's donating?
I can.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to name you and Brian quickly put together a tier. It can be a low tier, it can be a high tier, whatever is above average, something a little bit high, but not too high. And they can jump on a stream with me.
Okay.
For that donation. I can do that.
Let's see.
Marcel gets it free because I owe him and Sheev one. I sent one out to Sheev, but I don't know what he's doing on set. He's probably doing something because he probably has friends.
Yeah, well, exactly. He's around. I was talking to
He
him
gets
earlier.
around, huh?
I was talking to him earlier today. We were talking about the Marvel stuff, the She-Hulk and whatever else.
Hold on, my son's about to strangle himself with the cord. Bubba, get it out.
Unattended toddlers. What are you gonna do?
Seriously, he just wrapped it around his neck and then started moving around. Like, this is fun. All right. But anyway, yes, it's him. Alex, I thought you were supposed to be at work. Why aren't you at work? Alex, why are you at work? I heard you were still sick. Alex, Dylan doesn't want his room, so it's yours. I'm sorry, Dylan, but Alex is plan B. If you can't come live with me. If you won't come live with me.
That's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
this is other.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is other funny news. So I've been as some of you probably know, I've been tracking the sales of the Heart of the Jedi on eBay. The secondhand listing people have been doing, and actually the price has gone down. The price has gone down so much that there was one that was that ended on September 6th. The guy had it up for $69.99 and it failed to sell. People aren't buying them anymore for $70.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest I've ever seen it go fail to sell for.
Well, it's died down. The coverage of it has died down. The excitement of it has died down. And people know it's only a matter of time before Christopher Nelson puts another one up for print. He's just waiting for the price to drop to before he brings out more. A new edition with updates that even Chris was hiding from us. Like an extra chapter or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's looking at it.
Well, I got mine for $100.
Small time, you were so annoying.
Back in July. And at that time they were going for like 300, 200, but I saw they were dropping off the price on eBay. So I was able to get it for $100.
Well,
$100 is about what it's going for right now.
What sucks, and Marcel, maybe you just didn't know about it, but when it was out, I said, guys, get it now. It will not be there forever. And then when it left, people were going, oh, I was waiting for my next paycheck. For what was it, $7.99, Dylan? If you can't scrap together $8 on a credit card, you've got bigger problems.
Well, not only that, it was over 2 weeks, I think, because we found it on the 30th, and then it lasted till the 9th.
The guy who I bought it off of told me that he snapped up like 5 or 6 of them with the intention to resell them on the secondary market.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I understand that because I told people, I said, buy some extra. And I think I may even told people to do that because why not? I mean, they're not going to be available forever. But people acted like, oh, I was about to get a copy. No, you weren't. You thought it'd be there forever and you just let it go. And now that's gone. Now you have to pay. And then people were complaining, well, I want it, but now it costs so much. We didn't get it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And don't be mad at the scalpers. They got it. I mean, I'll be honest, if it comes out again, you're going to see people buy several copies. But I'll be honest, the new edition is much nicer than that first edition that originally came out years ago, which I have a hardback version.
Also, it doesn't have the same cover art as something different on it?
It does, but the back cover art is different. And whoever designed the newest one gave it that Bantam title on the spine. It looks a lot nicer.
So there's two. This feels weird to say it this way, but there's two versions that are like the quote unquote legitimate bootlegs. One was done in 2016. It was on Lulu. It was a very short run. It was the paperback was like a couple days, and then the hardcover was out for a day. Then Lulu shut it down. And then the second one, which is the one that most people have, was the 2021 Amazon run.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I got the original run. I got a hardback, which I don't know if anyone. I mean, there could be one or two other people who have it, but I got the paperback too. But I had two paperbacks. No, a paperback and a hardback. I bought one of each. And I gave my hardback to Mr. Flint because he was able to get one during the run. And Joe wanted to give him one. So I gave him my paperback. I think I had two paperbacks. I gave the other one to Joe for either him or someone else. But the hardback I kept. And, because I like everything in hardback. And it's only a matter of time. Person who made that design, you can now print stuff in hardback at Amazon. Go for it. So, Chris, if you're watching, Go for it. Put it up there.
Also, if you are looking for it on Amazon, be very careful when you see listings for a hardcover. There have been a couple hardcovers that have gone up recently that did sell, but they were not the 2016 Lulus. They were ones that people had printed off themselves. So if you see one, be very careful. Do your research. Message the seller. Figure out. Don't get scammed. Okay.
Yeah.
Be careful out there.
So homemade copies of a homemade copy.
Yes.
Got it. What would that make it? A fake of a fake? I don't know.
A fake of a fake. Yes.
A fake of a fake.
Like I said, there's two legitimate bootlegs.
If you want to have another printing of that, just reach out to Christopher Nelson on his YouTube channel. Ask him when the third printing's coming out.
Maybe we can get Escape from Dagu as well from Chris.
He probably has that too.
People are actually going to think he has these things, guys.
Escape from Dagu, Lightsider by Tom Veach, coming out from Christopher Nelson near you. The man's a regular printing press. Let me tell you.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye, the actual movie script, not the novel.
You know, I've heard that before. I actually
Is that Dane Cook's character?
No, Charlie is he's Charlie Day. Charlie Day is
okay.
the character.
Oh, I know. That's got it. That's the guy that looks like you. I'm kidding. I haven't watched the show. I've just seen clips here and there.
I went as him for Halloween one year. So
shut up. Did you really?
Yeah, I went as Green Man. Green Man. If you've ever seen the show, you know when he goes out, he trips out and he dresses in his Green Man outfit. For people who've seen the show. Yeah,
that's awesome. And by the way, if you hear big fart noises, that's not me. That's my little girl. Doing her impersonation of a trucker. I mean, this is loud, Sweet Pea. You were loud.
Yeah, Alex, I resent that.
What do you say?
Matt has Filoni on.
Oh, yeah. Insult. And now you're just being, oh yeah, there's a nice there. Oh, I'm sure he does. Chris is also sitting on top of the Real Sword of the Jedi by Christy Golden. Blood Oath by Lane Cunningham. He has that too.
Oh, he also has the Nightfall trilogy from New Jedi Order.
Nightfall trilogy.
And Dorla, I heard he has an early copy of.
He does. And several other copies of an undisclosed series that we don't even know about, but had tons of good stuff in it. So I mean, he
even has the 6th Republic Commando novel that finishes the series.
He has the novel to Force Unleashed 3. The game wasn't even created, but Chris has it.
He also has Battlefront 3. If it doesn't exist,
he also has Science Adventures #3 by Jude Watson and whatever her the scientist's name was. He has it all. He has Alien Exodus. Yes, he has that one too. So honestly, just go to his. By the way, if you're not subscribed to Chris Nelson, now I'm being serious. If you're not subscribed to him, I don't know what you're doing, because the man collects EU memorabilia, and the stuff he's been showing has been killing. Did y'all see what he just posted today? That catalog of merchandise from starting from 2008, and it has everything. That it's like over 1,000 pages. To me, it reminded me of the Sears wish list catalog, but for Star Wars fans. That would just be unbelievable.
And I know he's talked about creating a list of, at least from promotional material, of what is the quote-unquote essential stuff to get if you aren't into that sort of thing, which I think is great, because I don't know if there's a definitive list out there for a lot of this stuff. I mean, even I don't know if anyone has a list of just, for example, which EU books were released in hardcover.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll enjoy the Dark Elf trilogy. Is that R.A. Salvatore, Forgotten Realms? That's fun.
So is that the Homeland Exile Sojourn trilogy, or is that the Icewind Dale? I think it's the first one, right? Not the Icewind.
Icewind Dale is the first one. You are correct.
Right, Icewind Dale is the first one published.
The Dritz trilogy, which I think is called the Dark Elf. Now, actually, there were several Dritz trilogies that were written later on, but I'm thinking about the first one. But yeah, Chris has Dawn of the Jedi 2, but nobody wants it. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's okay. I don't want to get too.
Oh,
This just gets better and better, you know.
oh, Chris has
And,
the
and Chris Nelson is also Alex Wheeler. That's who Alex Wheeler truly really is. If you want to know.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Ruins of Dantooine actually had an original cover artist, but something happened and with their licensing, so they couldn't get it. So they just took a screenshot from the game. But no, Chris Nelson actually has the one copy of Ruins of Dantooine with that original, actual licensed cover artist that they commissioned for that.
Oh yeah,
Very
he has
rare.
a lot of neat stuff. Now I'm just going to tell you this, Jaden. It's the Icewind Dale trilogy is first, or is that a trilogy, or is that no? It was after that. They had that the quintet.
Quartet. It was the Legacy of the Drow quartet after that.
Okay,
yeah,
that one, and then there went to several other ones, and I stopped right after the Orc War, the Thousand Orc War, or the
It was the Hunter's Blades trilogy and the first
Hunter's Blades trilogy.
Yeah.
That's where I stopped. Man, you have a. Do you still have these?
Yeah, I've read them all. So
okay, because I stopped after that because like this is never going to end. Because I mean they were fun. I called them bubblegum fantasy because nothing was always final. You know, he'd say, and he never saw them again. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Years later, and our Salvatore's like, well, the fans wanted him back, so I brought him back, or they would never, you know, be alive. Like, you know, they never lived to see the. No, they did. They did actually. You know, so nothing was ever final in it. And then I think it was the Quartet trilogy had like mummies fighting vampires, fighting elves, fighting. I was like, whoa, that's a little too much. Like when it got to vampires versus elves I was like, that's weird. But then they put a mummy in there too. I was like, we're just throwing everything. It's like, you know, that kid that just throws G.I. Joe and He-Man and Thundercats all together and starts saying, you know, the Transformers are friends with the, you know, with the Silverhawks. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's just a little too far-fetched for me. But I kept reading, and then after a while, I was like, I'm done. I was enjoying it, but
because there's like over 35 now. I think they're at like 37 or something like that. So he keeps going, keeps writing.
Did I ever read War and Peace? That is a big book. Yes, I did. Do I remember any of it? That's the question. No. Shut up. That's hilarious. Actually, Chris has Ruins of Dantooine too. No one even knew they made a second one. Cover wasn't any good either.
I have played the I was going to say a swear word, but I'm not going to because it's PG. I've played a lot of that game. I actually replayed it in April, and I platinumed it on PlayStation, which means you do all the side quests and get all the trophies and stuff like that. So yes, it's very
wow.
Highly recommended.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Thanks for giving Marcel a question though.
Yeah.
Hey, OG was on the spacing last night, delivering it. I was feeding kids, changing kids. I commented for a little while, then had to go on listen mode while I was feeding kids, but good to see you there. Everyone happy to see her.
Yeah, I was trying to catch up on the spacing before I got this email from you, Matt. So
oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. This is less interesting. I'm just kidding.
This is always less. Well, I mean, don't look as good when no one looks as good as Alora. So, you know, I mean, I try to get Dylan to bleach his hair. Then maybe he'd have a chance. But, you know, Dylan.
The Sentinel. So Matt doesn't watch pro, but he does like University of Alabama. He is very big.
You're such a jackass. I'm an Auburn fan, but recently yes, Sam, we just did baseball. We did look at our earlier stream we did like an hour ago. Where Dylan and I talk baseball, but I don't care about the NFL. For college football, it used to be Auburn. I mean, it kind of still is, kind of like how the Red Wings are still my hockey team, but I'm not really watching hockey that much anymore. It's funny, but the other sports faded for me. I think basketball went first. Basketball was the first one to go. And then, about what? It's been 8 years, 6 years maybe, and hockey started drifting away. And then the past just 3 years now, football's just eliminated itself from me, you know. And so it's been just baseball, baseball, baseball. And I mean, for the past 6 years, if the Mets were in the postseason, I wouldn't even watch football. And so I think it happened when the Mets went to the World Series that year. I didn't even, I was so shell shocked, you know, we go all the way and don't get it, that I think I kind of blandly watched a little bit of football. And that was the start of my, you know, how I was like, oh, wow, I didn't watch football this entire season almost, college football. And so I slowly stopped over the past few years, but it's been the past, it was right at maybe 2020. I noticed I wasn't watching anything, you know, I wasn't watching any games. So that was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, I got out of football, and that it sucks because if the Mets sucked, I could go into football or go into hockey or go to do something, you know, but now I don't have a second sport to fall upon. So I just read books like I always do. I'm way behind the comments here, but would you guys ever buy a Star Wars?
Yeah, sure. I would have nowhere to put it, but yeah, I'd throw money at it.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah.
Actually,
did they end up pulling it off against Texas? My dad was
back.
watching that game. So here's what my brother brings over a second TV, hooks up his Roku to the internet, and has a second game. All you have to do is plug in the TV now. You don't need a VCR. You don't need, you know, a cable box. And I didn't think about that. I was like, shut up. He goes, yeah. So, I mean, mine doesn't have a stand, but I can bring over, I can just buy a newer one, you know, a smaller one, and we could have like 3 or 4 games at the same time. I don't even care about football, but I thought that was really cool. I didn't even watch the game, the secondary game, or the primary game for that matter. I was more into it for the snacks, and then we booked. But this is terrible. You shouldn't talk like that. We're rated PG here. That is such a terrible thing to say. You can say "Go Blue Jays." I'll take that.
I gotta tell you, at the beginning of this season, there was a lot of excitement in this city about the Blue Jays. We thought they were going to be. This was the year.
Yeah. How'd that sentence start off? At the beginning of the season.
Well, you know what? That's the thing. It's every season I find, you know, I don't watch hockey, but with the Maple Leafs too, everybody in Toronto is like, this is the year they're finally gonna take the cup. And you know,
my buddy still says that.
Yeah.
The one from London.
Yeah.
Ontario. He still says the Maple Leafs are gonna go it.
It's like mass hysteria now. They're all crazy.
I know. So hey, every year.
Back to Star Wars. Someone who mentioned EU sets. Actually, we just if you following last year, Hasbro did another fan poll to bring back one of 5 figures that was going to that they previously done in the Vintage series, and of course, we all voted and rallied behind the Republic Trooper, and the Republic Trooper won.
Here, I'll blow that up.
And for me. So yeah, this was the poll winner. It beat out Starkiller, the Weequay, Ahsoka, and the Imperial Tank Driver, which, according to my calculations, they got 2% of the vote. But yeah, this one with 40%, and
I love those back.
The third victory, expanded universe victory on these fan polls.
Which, to be honest, we should have won Ben Skywalker.
We should have.
As long as it beat out Ahsoka, I'm happy. I'm fine.
Actually, the funny thing was when the fan sites cheated us out of Ben Skywalker, they stupidly added Dr. Aphra from the new Marvel comics in there, and then she ended up winning the tournament. And I remember seeing from like all the fan sites that conspired against us that thinking that EU fans were voting for Aphra as like a protest when we wanted no part of that at all.
Yeah. Well, and yes, there is a Jane and Jason figure. There's a lot of, and Jane, I don't remember when it was, but on the website, the expandinguniverse.com, I wrote off some notes that someone else, when we first launched, we had some guy who had a complete set of Kenner toys. He was a big toy collector. He collected all the Expanding Universe figures, and he and I wrote out an outline of articles to kind of talk about each toy. He had a heart condition, had to go in for surgery. wasn't really feeling it and kind of just dropped off. And I haven't talked to him since, which I'm kind of sad. I missed talking to him. But anyway, I found those old notes and I put those up, even though mine are very brief, like a couple of sentences, just about all the expanded universe toys out there. Some of the Kenner products, they got put into the expanded universe. Like one Kenner toy got put into, the Imperial Troop Transport was in the Marvel comic books, as was another little snow tank for Hoth, and the mini sail barge was used for the cartoon droids.
Right.
So, and I mean, he was telling me all this. I didn't know all this, that a lot of those toys had links to the expanded universe. I think cloud cars or little cloud cars were in there too. But there we go. That must have been something we were talking about. Well, yeah, because the kids calmed down while I was talking to Dylan afterwards, Scott. And I was like, well, let's do another one because we forgot to hawk the Twin Suns, which is what we're going to do here in just a minute again.
Yep. Twin Suns. We have a fundraiser going right now to bring Star Wars books to 2 hospitals in the Dallas area. Dallas Scottish Rite, who we have worked with a couple times before, and the Children's Medical Center of Dallas. These will be dropped off by members of the 501st Star Garrison, particularly, I believe, the North Star Garrison. We're about halfway to our goal, so we have enough to do 1 hospital. We just need to hit the goal so we can do both. Go to the link that is in my name, twin-suns.net/donate.
There you go.
Too fast.
No, it's okay. It's on your thing. I want to see a Waru Unleashed figure.
Waru Unleashed.
Waru Unleashed figure. That's what I'm looking for.
Is there a more like well-known one-off Star Wars character than Waru?
I don't know.
Like in all the EU, think of a character who has only actually been in one story, one book, one novel, one comic that has more star power than Waru. Is there? Does that exist?
None. I can name people. Like you only have to look at villains usually, like Kueller from New Rebellion and stuff. That'd be one. But no, nothing like Waru. Nothing like a gelatinous, flaky cube.
There's this guy from the Tales of the Jedi comics, Warb Null, and he has like the coolest armor, and he's in like half an issue, and he gets bodied by Ulick, and you never see him again. That guy.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
That is an interesting idea. A discussion about those
one-offs.
One-hit wonders is what you could call them.
Because again, the easy one is Waru, because that's the one everyone knows. You mentioned Kueller, that's a good one. I think that was only in
New Rebellion.
Yeah. Outside of being mentioned, like not because a lot of the Bantam novels did this thing where they would mention all the previous adventures and like villains and stuff. Keithier, I think, was the main bad guy in Crystal Star. Would be another interesting one. Kind of got overshadowed by Waru.
Well, the San.
Yeah, he's from
he's from Kyle Katarn, right?
Jedi Outcast.
I can't remember. Yeah, Jedi Outcast. There you go. One of those. No, that'd be interesting. Now here's the reason, by the way, I think expanded universe characters sold well. It was a cross collector's item, meaning people who collected toys got it. People who didn't collect toys but loved the expanded universe bought it. That's a win-win. You want to hit that sweet spot where you got a cross collection going on. That's why for a while, I think I don't know, because I haven't eBayed them for a while, but everything's expensive used. But that's why those little golden books, expanded universe, little golden book adventures like Luke in Beggar's Canyon, R2-D2 and C-3PO, Meltdown on Hoth. Those were going for so much because you got people who collect little golden books, and you got Star Wars fans. It's nice when you hit that sweet spot. So I think they should do more with that. And the toy industry is hurting anyway, so they should be making things that fans want. Flint from the old Star Wars annual. I don't remember that. I have to look that up again. Oh, there's a good one. And see,
Mm.
what were you talking about earlier with Winter and Akbar having a thing? I believe that's why Scott has that picture up there.
Yeah.
We had a fun conversation about that a while back. Because someone had just read it and said that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
think
really? No, that was way back in the day.
Yeah.
Who was it that came on? What's his face? Justin. Eckhart's Ladder.
Mm-hmm.
He came on. That's when we were talking about it. I need to see if he wants to come back on. It's been a while for him. You would kill. Oh, okay. Well, why not? Jedi Prince Ken. There you go.
Yeah, I did a
No, you
reread
know
of-
what? I'm sorry. Jackson, the Green Bunny Rabbit.
Yeah, but Jackson was in a lot of stuff.
Jackson is he does have an action figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Yeah, a few, I believe. They made them a couple times.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Not the strongest. See, Babs, what I've been hearing is it's the best, but I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. I have it ready to go. Benjamin watches it with me. We usually review it on Saturday morning Sam Flange, Babs. So expect that in about a month or so because we wait because we're going to spoil the whole thing. But I also need to see if my wife wants to watch it. And if she does, then it's going to be a while before we can all watch it together.
What was his name?
But if she's out, we're going to watch that. Cody Sunchild, the original Marvel one-hit wonder. How about, you mean Don Juan Quixote? You can talk about a lot of Marvel characters.
There's this one character that appears in Republic issue 27. He's like a Jedi, Yoshi Raf Ilan. And you just never see him again.
Yeah. Okay, there's one. Kevin Scott. Oh, okay. Yeah, Babs, some people have been telling me it's the best, like a 9 out of 10 and stuff like that. I'll be honest, I've always loved the first season the best. However, I have enjoyed I'm looking forward, but I'm guessing season 5 it's not over yet, and they really need to end the series. It's going a little long in the tooth for me. Wait. Figures you were buying were based on the comic book. Would you buy it? I mean, yeah. Back in the day, I didn't know that they were doing this because I never walked down the toy aisle, and I wasn't interested in the latest Star Wars toys. I would have picked up a Grand Admiral Thrawn. I would have picked up a Dark Trooper. I think I would have picked up that stuff if I had the money back in the day. But I just was totally oblivious. I just read the books and the comic books. But if I would have known they were doing action figures, I mean, I could have gone online. I could have looked through the rest of my Star Wars Insider. Maybe I didn't. I thought they were just mail-ins, but I didn't know. No, you're fine. You're fine. If you thought it was okay, that may be, Babs, how I'll think about it. Boom. There you go. Chance Calrissian. Exactly. Needed an action figure. Well, he's a one-hit wonder. Come here, dude.
Where does he show up? Is he in Fate of the Jedi, Chance?
Yes.
Okay.
I think for one book, for one chapter, maybe 2. Maybe he's mentioned.
How about a Hagen figure from Tales of the Jedi? I don't know.
Who?
He's the guy who shoots Ulick Keldroma in Redemption.
Oh my gosh, no. Never. Who said that? Oh, okay. I see it now.
I can't find their name, but the Keldor Republic trooper that was the one honor guard that survived and became relevant to the plot in Fatal Alliance. I remember this character because he was the only one in the entire book I cared about. I can't remember his name. I just remember
the chat can maybe help you out with that.
Chat, who was it? Who was the Keldor? The Keldor guard. There were 8 honor guards that went with to the meeting, and they all died except for that one. And then that guy got a promotion and was involved in the plot a lot later. I know one of you has read Fatal Alliance recently.
What about Div from Truce of Bakura? Wasn't that his name?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think he was that special, but
Are you thinking of Hetchkey? Is that his name?
Maybe.
Who?
Hetchkey, I think might be his name.
Gone through Fatal Alliance yet.
You know what? Fatal Alliance is horrible.
Yeah, it's
Horrible.
again, it's a
It and I didn't think about this, but when I do my top 10, I am going to do my top 10 worst books again, and you can bet your britches that Fatal Alliance will get on there. It's absolutely atrocious.
Well, he's
And
not
the thing is, I thought it was okay the first time. I remember thinking, "Oh, it's all right, it's all right." No, man, it's just terribly done,
no, it was so hard to get through.
terribly dull, and it's so weird because the rest of them I enjoyed.
It takes, I think I remember when I reading it, it takes like 200 pages or something to actually get to the Fatal Alliance.
And you do not care. You do not care. Hey, little man, why is it when I'm always streaming that you do this?
There's creases in the spine, which leads me to believe that I read this someday in the past, but I can't remember ever actually reading this book.
Okay, all right. Here's a good one. Okay, you work on that paper there, dude.
Take care.
Yep.
All right. Do you think Disney should make animated movies of classic Legends books? Legends? Sure, I mean they can. That'd be fine. I just want new books.
Yeah.
Bubba.
I would say to that question, as long as they don't change anything, or if they, I don't want them to start tweaking the plot or whatever, I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah, no Cobra Kai spoilers in the comments, please. I haven't watched the new season yet.
Are there Cobra Kai? Oh.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
Oh, look at that. Thank you, Scott. Again, Twin Sons doing their annual fundraiser. You got to go in and donate. Dude, where did your passy go? Hush it.
Oh no, I didn't think that. No, I didn't think you were. I was just warning people.
We're still coming down on you. No spoilers. I don't care if you have a cool tag and name. I don't know what that means, but it looks really cool.
Oh shoot, no, he showed up later.
He showed up later. Oh,
I was thinking
cool.
Nick Rosty, but then I'm like, no, he's in a few things.
Do you know that Mike, this is kind of weird, but Mike Judge, I love Beavis and Butthead. And he's brought the cartoon back, and somehow it's still funny, and he hasn't changed the characters. I know no one cares about this, but I was just thinking about that.
I used to watch it a long time ago. It used to be on
and that new movie, they go out, they do outer space, hilarious. And it's basically the same humor, but for some reason it's still funny. And then they came up, then the MTV ordered a show, and it's still funny. So I mean, he still got. I heard King of the Hill's coming back, maybe.
That's also Mike Judge, right?
Yeah, that's also Mike Judge, because nothing ever died. Now all I want is a. Didn't he write Office Space?
The movie. He wrote.
Yeah. I need Office Space 2.
I don't know. Where do you really go from the end of that movie, though?
You can go in. I don't know. Bring out the mat and jump to a conclusion on it.
Yeah.
That's what I want, man. That movie was. I mean, that movie basically defined everyone's work life. It was so spot on. So spot on. I saw someone sent me a YouTube clip about what it was like to be a dad with little kids. And I swear it was so close to my life. It was scary. Like, it wasn't just the regular dad jokes and kid jokes. It was, he said, here's my wife's coffee from yesterday. Here's my wife's coffee from 2 days ago. Megan leaves her coffee, old coffee out. I have to dump it every night, or she'll just leave another cup of coffee out. I was like, how? Is that something that everyone does? Yeah, there you go. Hey, Bobby. But the guy who you can't understand that says a bunch of stuff, can't think of his name right now. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
You missed it earlier. What's Heart of the Jedi? What is that? I'm kidding. Yes, we all have. Yes. Yes, we've read it. Let me ask you this. Wait, no, but that's funny. Oh, okay. I didn't know he was holding back things. Holding back episodes. Revenge of the Red Staple. I'd love to.
Huh.
Oh, it's such a good Boomhouse, whatever. Boomhauer, I think it was his name. Anyway, let me. This is my next question to you. What's a book that you read, but you literally had no memory of? You literally have no memory of. Baba, hush it. I'm gonna get him a new passy because he's lost his other one. But go ahead.
It's not that I have no memory of it, because I do remember some things, but the closest would be Planet of Twilight. I have a vague recollection of there was a planet that had turbo lasers on asteroids that they couldn't get into, and then there was a Hutt Jedi there, and Luke and Leia both ended up there, but they didn't know they were there. And if Luke used the Force, it would cause like an earthquake or something. That's my rough understanding of this book that I reread not even like 10 years ago.
All right, Marcel.
Well, apparently Fatal Alliance, but if I'm looking at my shelf right now, probably the Mandalorian Armor.
Mm.
Oh, wow. That's from the Bounty Hunter Wars?
Yeah, I read that probably 15 years ago, and I cannot tell you anything that occurs in that book. I think Shizor's in it, maybe, but it happens, I think, after Return of the Jedi.
Right. I would say it'd have to be a Clone Wars novel for me. Because there's a lot of those Clone Wars novels, and I keep forgetting the name of it. The Cestus Deception, didn't remember hardly nothing of that. Jedi Trial, when I was rereading it, I remembered one scene from it. And then,
you're thinking of The Approaching Storm, Matt.
The Approaching Storm. Yeah, there you go. If I can't even remember the title, then that's definitely on there.
Yeah.
But Approaching Storm, that one scene is really good. It's just a shame that the rest of the book has to exist.
Shadow Games and Scourge, I remember very well. Now, you talk about comic books, that's going to be a little bit different for me because obviously most of the stuff from Wild Space Omnibus I don't recall just because it all runs together. But there's also certain comic books like the one I just read. Is it called Scoundrels?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hardly remembered anything about that. And there are other comic books. If we do comic books, we'll be here all day. There's Baba, hush it. There's several comic books. I do not know.
I just read Shadow Games for the first time a couple months ago, and I loved it. I thought
it's excellent.
The conceit was really great and worked well in the Star Wars universe. I don't know, for anyone who hasn't read it, it's like your classic kind of mob femme fatale story, trying to escape from the mob, that kind of thing. So with Dash Rendar. Yes. Boy, yeah, MedStar and Shatterpoint I both remembered very well. Yeah. But for me, it was those other ones. Dark Rendezvous I remembered, but not as well. I don't remember. See, now I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't realize how excellent Sean Stewart is as an author. Look, watch, hold on. Any minute now. Hold on, any minute now. That one's going to be gone. Her battery's winding down. One down. This dude. Go in here, play with my feet. There you go. That dude refuses to take naps. Refuses. Like the Energizer Bunny. Keeps going and going. I remember Tatooine's Ghost pretty well. Oddly enough, I'm a big Troy Denning fan. That's my least favorite Troy Denning book. Yeah. Tatooine Ghost is the most forgettable Troy Denning book, I would say.
Hey, we were talking about you earlier, but I wouldn't rewind it.
I would say it's interesting, right? I would say Spectre of the Past. mainly because like I know roughly what happens in that duology, but I don't remember the beginning of that. Like
Okay.
I remember a lot of the ending of it. Like when Mara and Luke are in the cave, I remember that when the triumvirates plan, like when they have like that plan of like, oh, Thrawn's back and they have like an actor. I remember all of that story, but a lot of the early stuff in that novel that I think would happen around the time of Spectre of the Past, I don't remember all that well.
Okay, it was Coruscant Nights. I remembered book 1 and 2 backwards. I thought the events of book 2 happened in book 1. The events, and that's the other thing. When it comes to trilogies, I am foggy on what happened in which book. I am very foggy on that because it kind of all runs together for me.
Right.
And so if you were to say, hey, Matt, what did you think about, and they tell me about book 2 of a trilogy, I couldn't really tell you because I don't remember what, and when I start talking about it, you're like, no, Matt, that happened in book 3. Or no, that was in book 1. I'm like, oh, okay.
I had that with comics. I have that with comics. Like I can't tell you what happened in Legacy Claws of the Dragon, but I could tell you what happened in Legacy. But if you start talking about individual like story arcs or individual comics issues themselves, outside of a Joker squad, because that was just a weird one-off, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, come on. Claws of the Dragon, that's like one of the most important arcs. It's when he gets captured by Darth Krayt. And he's being held.
I know, but it all blurs. I just picked that because that was the one I know. But it all like, but these series, right? They all blur together to me. It's like, all these events just happened, and I couldn't tell you when in the series it happened. I just know when they all they all happened.
I find that with the KOTOR comics because there's 15 different arcs in that in those 50 issue runs, and it's just so hard to keep track of what happens when, other than Vector, which obviously stands out.
Well, yeah, Vector's Vector. And at least in the KOTOR comics, the main storyline is basically over by issue 35. But
okay, so and by the way, hello Jay, what's up, man? I like that dude. He's a fun guy. Oh look, she's gone, and they're out. One down, gone. Victory. This one, no. Doesn't know what Daddy's holding up in front of his face. All right, anyway. All right, so there was something I wanted to talk about when you were talking about that. No, I am, Alex, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I am reading, where's the book? Must be on the table in the kitchen. I'm reading Tales of Dune. Sands of Dune, which is 4 short stories. It came out in June. I never even knew about it until Kevin J. Anderson sent out his letter last month and talked about it. I was like, wait, what? So I ordered it, read it. That's what I'm reading now. I just started it today, but that's what I'm reading now before I jump back into Star Wars. I've had a little bit of a break from Star Wars, reading some other stuff. But after I read, that's the last one, Sands of Dune. When I'm finished with that, I'll get back on to Star Wars.
Now, Matt, have you read all the Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson Dune books? Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. And right now I'm in story 1 of the 4-book series of Sands of Dune. And it's about the Freemen attacking Harkonnen, doing Harkonnen raids while they own the Dune manufacturers.
Right.
And it's good. It takes place 50-something years before the actual book Dune. And I just love the world of Dune.
Yeah, me too.
Is this going to explain something? No, it's not going to. But I'm already in. I mean, just 11 pages in, locked in. I'm like, okay, I love the world. I can't wait for the Duke of Callahan trilogy to complete later on. I don't know when. It got pushed back to like November or something. And when that happens, I'm taking another break from Star Wars, reading that entire trilogy. I don't read a trilogy until they're all out. And then what else? I read the Firefly novels, which I think are unbelievably good. Most of them. So there's like 2. Of course, Tim Levin, go figure, is one of the weakest ones. And then there's another person who didn't do that good of a job. It was called The Ghost Machine. I can't remember who wrote that. But that was Bubba. But James Hargrove writes a lot of those first books. That dude should have written for Star Wars. He knows how to write inside of a IP. Because it feels like, and a lot of these books, the newest one by, I can't remember, some girl, it feels like a Firefly episode.
Are they continuations of the show, or are they prequels?
No, it's a continuation of the show. It's just more adventures. Of course, it takes place before the movie because everyone wants book.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about book and whoever. before things went sour. The comic books, which some of them take place after the movie, are terrible. They're terrible. I stopped buying them. They're just a waste of time.
At that point, like the story, it's like a nice end point to the story. There's not really much to tell after that. I mean, you could probably still now, but
but the books are solid, and I still get the book. So the next book comes out sometime next year. I'm going to get that one too and read and love it. Oh, Bedlam Jihad, very good. That's a great trilogy. So you've read all these, Marcel?
I've read the first 6. Frank Herbert. I actually just finished a couple months ago, and now I own all the Brian Herbert and Kevin Janners. I went and bought like 14 books, and I have yet to read them. Oh, but I'm a big Kevin J. Anderson fan, so I'm probably going to enjoy them.
Oh wow. Okay, so now that you said that, now I got to go. Hold on. I'm going to go through these. I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on them.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts is what we're going to be doing
before
here.
I get into Butlerian Jihad, I'm going to read them in publication order. So I think I have to read like House Atreides and House Harkonnen and House Corno first, right?
And I think that may be fine. Yeah. Well, do they have? Oh, where's the listing? Oh, that sucks. Is there not a good site that shows you all the books? Dune novels. There you go.
Probably Wikipedia.
Okay. All right, Dune Part 2 coming November 2023. Okay, I don't care. Okay, the comic book. Oh my gosh.
But there was one Dune book that really reminded me of Traitor. Do you know which one I'm talking about? A Frank Herbert Dune book reminded me of Matt Stover's Traitor, just sort of in the conceit and like the conception behind it. God Emperor of Dune. The entire book is one long conversation.
I like God Emperor of Dune. Boy, this is there a spot to go? Hold on just a moment. Let me strangle my son real quick. Dude, what are you doing?
They're gonna take that out of context.
Yeah. It's gonna show up in another article.
Yeah. This little dude is Dylan. Wasn't he super quiet?
Yes.
He was super quiet when we got off. Dear. Bubba. Hush. Come on, little man. Look, I got you. Okay? Look, sister's being sweet. She knocked herself out.
Noah's going to cut that and make it into some kind of, soundbite.
Soundbite. All right, so there is not a good website here for the books. This is embarrassing. All right, so God Emperor of Dune was the last good one by Frank Herbert, I felt. Are you going to let me talk? Nope. Hey. Bubba. This is... Dude. See, Dylan, this is why you need to be here. Then you could hold him. And I could talk and have fun. Hold on. Let me find a rap for him. Let me wrap him up. Maybe that'll get him quiet.
Why don't you just read him some Tim Levin? It'll put him right to bed.
That's true. Hold on just a moment.
It's kind of interesting. We were talking about like forgettable novels. Is that like when I think of like bad novels, I have like the two categories. It's like the ones that are boring and forgettable, and the ones that are like actively like I'm reading it and I'm just like angry and frustrated at just how bad of the thing that I'm reading. Right, but I'm not exactly sure what's worse.
Well, I was going to ask you. So for your first category, Planet of Twilight, I assume something like that. Okay, and then your second category, would that be Dawn of the Jedi?
Let's see. Probably not Dawn of the Jedi. Probably Barbara Handley's other book, Children of the Jedi.
Jedi, yeah.
See,
and parts of Republic Commando.
Really well.
Yeah, I don't know that there's like a EU novel that I actively hate. There's several canon books. but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
talk about those. So
But it's mainly it's just like parts of novels that I don't like. Like I said, like with Republic Commando novels, there's just parts of those books where I'm just like so upset and like frustrated at how bad it is.
Yeah.
And then she redeems herself later, but then like I'm a mixed bag when it comes to Republic Commando.
I've never read the Republic Commando books, but I obviously read Travis and Legacy of the Force, and I enjoyed her in Legacy of the Force. So.
What were we talking about? Oh, okay. So the Dune books. I thought that Heretics of Dune is where it gets weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew this, but his wife had died.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
There's like Brian Herbert does a preamble to every single one of his father's books, and sort of describes in those preambles what was happening in Frank's life at the time that he wrote any given book.
Oh, hey, tell me about that. So what did you find interesting about that?
Well, God Emperor, I forget what Frank Herbert's wife's name, but she thought it was a love story. She was, she read that, and Brian recounts that she thought it was like a love story between Leto II and Hui Nuri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he knew she was brought in to destroy him,
right,
he still couldn't help but love her.
Right.
I thought it was really good.
Right. I think the only other one that kind of stands out to me was the Dune Messiah preamble. He talks about how people at the time hated Dune Messiah because they were upset because it sort of destroyed the hero myth of Paul Atreides, right? Shows him as kind of this tyrannical figure and casts him in a new light. And Brian was rationalizing it, saying like this was Frank's intention from the start, and you guys just weren't paying attention in the first Dune book.
Oh, wow.
So
what about Heretics after his wife had passed away?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, I had heard, and you can correct me if you've read something different, but that his wife loved the Bene Gesserit. And so he changed them from being the villain to the good guy. Like they had a plan all along, but it doesn't make sense because you're used to hating the Bene Gesserit, and they're underhanded, they're dirty, they're dealing. But then you find out, oh, they were doing this to save the galaxy or whatnot. And I felt like, that's a hard turn. That's a 180 turn that I didn't enjoy. Plus, now that his wife's dead, he can write that NC-17 scene with young Duncan Idaho and one of the Bene Gesserit, which is
that was no, for sure.
It's one of those chapters, folks, where you kind of look around and hope that no one else is reading over your shoulder. You know, you may as well be reading Penthouse Letters
or Troy Denning. No, I actually like Troy Denning too, so I'm just kidding.
It's not that bad. This is the worst. Like when Alex was rereading, I was like, Alex, watch yourself, buddy. But it doesn't end on purpose because they didn't want to write. Brian Herbert didn't want to, even though he had his father's notes, he didn't want to write them out. He just didn't feel like they deserved to write out the end. Well, later on, writing with Kevin Janderson, he really enjoyed what they were doing, and they did write an ending. Have you read it?
I know. I mean, it's been out for so many years that I've basically been spoiled.
I'm not going to spoil it. The ending is good in a way. There's a lot of twist.
Yeah.
But they bring a character in that was in their series. They already gave that character the perfect ending, because they thought they weren't going to make the trip. But then they said, oh, well, this was always in his notes. And so he always wanted this to be. So it just ruined the ending. It almost felt like they were pushing a character that they had created. Seriously, it may have come from the mind of Frank, but Brian and Kevin developed this character into who he was.
And this would be really
their character. And it felt like they were inserting their character into his story, and it felt off.
Right.
So that's the only thing I can say. I'm not spoiling anything there, but that just, but when I told Kevin, I said, why did y'all do that? Because this character had a great ending in this novel. He went, well, he said, it was always one of Frank's characters, and we just thought we weren't going to write the ending, so we just gave him our own ending.
Right.
And there are some contradictions. And I think the first publication-wise, I think House Atreides, House Harkonnen, House Corino, or whatever, but those were the first ones to come out. And in the quotes, there's a ton of contradictions later on books. I'm thinking, well, Kevin, you wrote these. How are you contradicting yourself? And then someone said, well, the quotes could be, it could be misquoted. Those people could have been misquoted over time.
Right.
But like one person supposedly died of old age. No, he didn't. Because later on you revealed he died at a very young age. It's big, mess ups like that.
The one other thing that kind of sticks out from that you've jogged my memory from Brian Herbert, he says that Lady Jessica was based off of Frank Herbert's wife. Like he based the character off of her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he wanted her to drink poison when she was with child. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
but that's interesting.
Yeah. So
plus the name Duncan Idaho is super cool.
Well, he's probably one of the best characters in the series, so he has to have one of the best names in the series. There you go. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
He's not a Dune fan. Passed out.
He definitely does not a Dune fan.
Nah.
Let's see if I can. This is that Indiana Jones episode where he's trying to replace the bag of sand with the idol without disturbing anything and setting off any traps. So now it's about setting my son down without having.
I was following the conversation in the comments. They were having a discussion about the Plagueis novel.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to switch the conversation to Doom, but I did. I wanted to talk about, and I can't find. Still looking over websites. There's just nothing that shows it, and I don't have my collection inside right now. So, but I love them all except for I want to say it was Winds of Dune. Felt like it's just there. They didn't develop it didn't develop the world or the characters or the story at all.
Right.
And that's the only one that I thought was a waste of time. There's Tales of Dune, which is just a collection of short stories by Frank and by Brian and Kevin J, which is good. And then this new one, Sands of Dune, which I haven't read yet, but I'm loving it. So for the most part, like 90%, 99% or whatever, all but one book. And even when I reread it, Winds of Dune is just pointless. It's just a story of the good old days told by Lady Jessica while she and Gurney sit out on a rock.
Right.
Or something. I was like, well, what's the point of this? So.
Well, let me ask you, because the last Frank Herbert book ends on this kind of like this twist, right?
Yeah.
You get introduced to these characters that you've never seen before, never heard from before, and everything that you know is kind of thrown into the air, and you have to re-examine the entire series under this lens. Is that addressed in the Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert continuation?
Yes.
And okay, is it addressed to your satisfaction?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they're going to explain that. You're talking about Duncan Idaho?
I'm talking about the people who are observing Duncan Idaho. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Those characters are continued on in the other books. Yeah.
Okay.
But they take, if I recall right, and if anyone's read it, y'all remember better, I think they take a back seat pretty quick because I don't think Kevin J. Anderson nor his son were interested in writing about. You're talking about the rabbi and or Rebecca?
No, but they do show up in that. I'm talking about, I think they were like an older couple. Like it was like Marty or something like that.
Oh gosh, you know what? I don't know.
Okay.
That's a great question. I do not recall.
It's in the very.
I know who you're talking about now. I just don't. I don't recall.
Yeah.
You're right though. There was more to that party. I know that Duncan Idaho is better explained, and what happens going forward. And I thought, like I said, the ending was fine. There's just one little thing, that one little character that they already gave a great send off for, and then tried to bring him back. Felt forced. It just felt off, and the ending is. It made the ending fall a little bit flat.
Right.
You've been drinking your Coke for so long, but then you let it sit out for a few hours. You drank that last sip, went, going a little flat.
Yeah.
But you still enjoyed it. That's almost what I feel like. But I love the I'm a big Kevin J. Anderson fan too, so it made it a slam dunk to get this book. But and Duke of Caladan, when that one comes out, when that one completes later on this year, I'll definitely be reading that. Love the Dune books.
Yeah, I'll let you know what I think once I get to them.
Please do.
Amidst the mountain of expanded universe novels that I'm rereading currently.
Oh yeah, no, I've been having a great time talking about now. Now we're talking about Star Wars. Now Dylan's awake again, but I've really been enjoying. I mean, Clone Wars novels really hurt my feelings. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
just all those awful back-to-back novels and stuff. But going through them all together, I mean, it's great. It reminds me, not that I need a reminder, but it does. It kind of refreshes you to think, wow, these are some solid stories that are being told, and they feel like the characters. It feels like we're moving in a direction. That we're exploring the characters in the right way. They're all acting the way they should. Basic plot points, character arcs. It's just they cared about putting together a good story, and that's what you wanted to hear. Like I think Sean Stewart is amazing because he made you believe that Count Dooku was going to turn, even though he's not. You already know his ending.
Yeah,
but he writes it so well. You're like, oh my gosh. Count Dooku really wants to, I'm hoping Yoda can talk him out of this, but he's not. But that's great when an author can connect with a character so well and develop part of his story that you already know how it'll end. Bantam gets made fun of a lot because it's always who got kidnapped this week, right?
Right.
Someone always usually getting kidnapped. Kids getting kidnapped. Leia getting kidnapped. Someone right. And at the end of a Bantam, and I'll be honest, at the end of a Bantam novel, I knew everything was going to be okay. I didn't know how the problem was going to resolve itself, but I knew everyone would be okay. Well, that's why Del Rey said, you know what? Let's make it to where not everyone's okay. Not everyone. That's why they wanted to kill off a big character at the beginning, because they wanted to set the tone and say, guess what? This isn't your average Star Wars book. People will die. And every New Jedi Order novel, except for maybe the last one or two, a previous character who you knew from the Bantam series, or from Del Rey, dies.
Yeah.
And even when you think that, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to give spoilers here for everyone, but the books came out 20 years ago. But even when you thought, I can't remember which book it was, but I thought, wow, they didn't kill anyone off. And that's when Tenel Ka's mother dies at the very end. They walk in and she's been poisoned.
Right.
And I was like, what? It's like, nope, we got you. We're still killing them off. We just don't have to kill them off midway through the book. We're going to do it. And like when Wedge gets into an X-Wing to fly off, he has a funny feeling this may be the last trip. The entire rest of the novel, I was scared to death they were going to kill off Wedge.
For sure.
And that's what they wanted you to think, because no one is safe. Once Chewbacca died, we'll kill off anyone. That's why I like at the halfway point, Anakin died. I know it's supposed to be Jason, but it was Anakin. Great. People hated that because they loved Anakin. And there's a story behind why they had to kill Anakin, but at the same time, you were starting to feel safe again, weren't you? So here, we'll kill off another big character to tell you it's not over yet. So like at the end, I was really wondering the unifying force. I was like, who's going to die? I really thought, I was like, they're going to kill off Leia now or someone, I said, I was expecting another big death, another big surprise, because they had just done so much. There had been so much death. And I mean, they backed away from it in later series, which I wasn't a big fan of, but I mean, I know you have to. You can't be killing off everyone. But I just thought it was excellent. It was excellent how it was executed, because it made you sit on the edge of your seat, chapter after chapter, page after page, worrying about if your favorite character was going to make it out or not.
I mean, it worked. When they killed off spoilers, Ikrit from the Junior Jedi Knights books, that was like childhood's end for me. I was like, okay, this war has just taken on a personal note now.
Dude, and didn't he get shot up?
Yeah, it was devastating.
I mean, it was a pretty brutal death too. Yeah, they didn't turn around. I mean, the only one that kind of got written off was the girl from Lusa from Crystal Star.
Yeah.
They just kind of mentioned her off. And then who else? Someone from Junior Jedi Knights. Lyric. Was that her name? The mermaid fish one? they mentioned those two dying kind of just haphazardly, and they didn't get a big death. You know, they were some of the Voxen's first targets. But I was like, oh man. So there's like, you could do, I mean, but Borst Fila, they could have just stopped at Borst Fila had probably one of the best deaths out there, because it was the only time you ever liked Borst Fila as a character
Was when he
when
died.
he does one unselfish act finally at the end. And it's an awesome way to go. Like I said, I can still see if that was a movie. I still see it as that was a movie.
The death that really stuck with me, and I think about a lot even to this day, is in the Dark Tide books, Dark Tide 2, Elagos Akla.
Yeah.
And just the way that basically his remains were delivered to Corrin. I mean, I was a kid at the time. I was 12 years old. That haunted me when I was reading that book when it came out. And to this day, I think about that. And, to my mind, that's when Star Wars grew up for me. That's when I was like, oh, man, this is serious.
Well, the hardest gut punch for me was during the Bantam era. It was Tom Fannin from the X-Wing Rogue Squadron series. No, that was Wraith Squadron.
Wraith Squadron, yeah.
And I think it was Iron Fist was the book. And everything was playing as normal, right? It was, they get shot down. Don't worry, they're going to be alive, but injured. Are they going to make it out in time? They are, because they're some main characters. They're your comic relief. They're the fun ones. They're going to get out. You just don't know how. And then they don't. But then how it ended, how the chapter ends with the last sentences, and for the first time since he was a child, Face cried. And I was like, oh, no, but it just, it got me. It got me. I was like, oh my gosh. That to me is still the hardest death out of every single one. There are some hard ones to look at, hard ones to see, a lot of open mouth moments. But that one, I could not believe that they were going to kill off one of the best characters. But I mean, again, I said that Alston is very wicked because he makes you laugh before he makes you cry. Like, they're telling jokes. If y'all remember the scene, they're telling jokes prior to his death. And then all of a sudden, he's not there anymore. He's not responding. I was like, what? What's going on? I don't understand. Hit you with one. It's mean. But, Dylan, which one hit you?
Pelion.
Yeah.
Because he knew he was going to die. He knew. And that's
and he was defiant to the end.
He was so dignified about it too.
Dignified. Went out. But I mean, he's 92.
Well, yeah, but he should have died in his garden and Bastion, not like that.
So, I mean, they couldn't let him die peacefully for some reason. But no, I think that was a great death because he knew it was his time. The moment he saw her there in his quarters, it's over. I'm just going to have a conversation and I'm not going to back down. I mean, Pelion to the end.
Another one, Akbar.
Yeah.
Because it's the scene in it's the scene in the Unifying Force when they're in the meeting room and they're planning the recapture of Coruscant, and like anyone who's anyone is there, right? From all these different things. And then Winter, Tycho comes into the room. It's like, I just got a message from Winter, Akbar passed away. And it's like, it's this deflating of, wow,
there's a moment of silence in the room because you didn't see that coming. And by the way, what was Winter doing there? I'm just saying. Giving him his last wish.
I didn't pick up on that relationship dynamic, but then, I think I was rereading Dark Apprentice, and like I said, like she makes some comment like, hey, Akbar, if you want to stay with me, on this planet alone, basically, we can make this work. It really changed my perspective.
Yep. Winter is a little hussy. Leading Tycho on. Going out with a Mon Calamari behind his back. You know,
Oh, another. This was
stuff to be written about.
this was infuriating. I'm just thinking about character deaths. Chon Niathal in Fate of the Jedi when she died.
You know, I just read that because I was reading Backlash, and that's the book that it happens in.
And it's so infuriating because, like, if Dala would have just told her what was going on, but no, she didn't, and then she assumed, and now she's dead. Good job, you got one of your friends killed.
I almost feel, Dylan, like they used that to try and make Dala more sympathetic because of how she reacts to Niathal's death.
Yeah.
You know, she's basically like, oh, damn you, Niathal. Why didn't you just hang on? Like, we would have exonerated you. But I don't know. I think Dala's a war criminal. I don't know why they made her.
Oh, yeah, she's terrible. She had like a book and a half in Legacy of the Force while she was all right, and it's been a train wreck before and since.
Yeah.
Yep. One thing after the next. Man.
You're on Backlash. Okay, so you just finished Backlash?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading like way out of order. A lot of it's reading.
I think there's
get out.
If you didn't already hate Dala, there's a scene that's coming up. I think in a book or two that will really make you hate Dala.
Yeah, I already did. I don't hate the character. I think she's a great character, especially in the Jedi Academy trilogy. She's cartoonish bad, but I like her. I just don't think that she should have been in. It's not credible to me that she's in the position that she's in.
Yes. I think that's kind of a weakness of when I think of like the post Boris Phalia Chief of States, I feel like they were almost like regretful that, oh shoot, we killed Boris Phalia, and they kept trying to make like another Boris Phalia, but they just couldn't do it, and it fell through every time.
And it was a bad idea too, because that's been done. It's time to shift gears.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you.
Because I felt that about Cal Olmos. I think Dal was that. I think Abeloth was definitely that when she.
Dala was a good pick because go back to sleep. Dala was a good pick because she's someone who, as this is why I love her so much. She falls down, she falls from grace, but always comes back bigger and better, and then makes a bigger mistake, And so she was fine. She was fine for that purpose, but they needed someone. Cal Olmos is kind of just vanilla, and they had a bunch of those people that you couldn't, and not that you needed to have, because Boris Phalia was just great, like political fodder, right? He was the adversary to everything Leia stood up against. He had his own reasons too. He was your typical politician, but I don't know. There's a lot of other ones. Who was the chief of state in either I think it was Black Fleet Crisis. That was another one that was just kind of.
I think.
Remember that one? It was a one and done person too.
Right.
I can't remember.
I don't know if it was Black Fleet Crisis. I know in the Hand of
Thrawn. It could be Korean trilogy.
There was an interim during the Hand of Thrawn duology. Gaberson, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Really?
Here, Ponk Gaverson.
Yeah.
Wow, good memory there.
Oh,
but he was just an interim because Leia was like taking a break at the time.
That's right.
Taking a break from being.
The New Essential Chronology says that she was disgusted with the New Republic and had to step away from it or something like that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then realized nobody could do the job as good as she could and came back.
Mm-hmm. And then they gave it to Borsk after the war was over. Because of course,
which I was fine with. I thought his time was long in coming. I thought it was a great idea to put him chief of state, because I felt like, man, he's always been there for so long and he never got up to the chief of state position. That seems kind of weird. But no, it finally paid off in the worst time you would need Boris Phalia in charge, right? So, I mean, but like I said, New Jedi Order, they could have made 14 more books about that war, and I wouldn't have been bored at all. I don't think it went too long. I know a lot of people are like, dang, this does not end. I was like, this could be my life. I could read New Jedi Order forever. I like the darkness. I like that there's an outside threat that's not the Sith, not Jedi, not Dark Jedi, something different.
Now, let me ask you about the New Jedi Order, though. If Chris Nelson were to release his copies of Nightfall,
which he has,
to the general public, would they still fit within the continuity, or had they pretty much moved on from that story?
I mean, they would. To my knowledge, it was based off different characters.
Okay.
That were written to have their own story arc to move these characters here and there, but since they didn't, they had someone else do that character bridge. So I think I know. Let's say because the authors don't have it, they had the first one written, the second one was in draft,
right,
and the third one was just outlined, if I remember right, because Joe Bongiorno reached out to him, and they didn't have it because back then you saved them on the little floppy disks, the little zip drives, those old tower desktop computers, and they threw those away. They didn't think anyone would care about an old story that never got published. No one knew, hardly anyone knew about it. So a lot of that disappeared. But if they did have a copy, Joe would have reviewed it and kind of would have smoothed out any, it probably just would have been repetitive on certain, character arcs. Come here. Your brother went to sleep and you were a good girl.
Yeah. To return to Dala, I mean, it would have made sense to me that she was chief of state if they had merged the Imperial Remnant with the Galactic Alliance.
Yes.
Obviously they never did, but like that makes sense. She's the candidate for that exact reason, right? Because she appeals to the camps. But I mean, we know from Legacy that never happens. So
right.
And I guess, or even in some way, like insinuate that, because Legacy of the Force, I've said this before, it has the big problem that there isn't really there isn't really a well justified resolution to why the war ended the way it did.
Right.
And if they could have somehow weaved in, like, oh, she was the great negotiator that like got the Corellians to back down, despite the fact that the Galactic Alliance had just lost their chief of state.
Scott, is it cartoonish or is it just immature? I felt like there was a lot of immaturity in the Jedi Academy trilogy with Dala because she was young, kind of spoiled, thought that she deserved this title when she was obviously unprepared and was totally embarrassed in every novel. But I don't know, to me it felt like immaturity.
So that whole Ail Shaw thing, I have some thoughts on that because I just read that book, reread it rather, less than a month ago. I think that it doesn't make sense to me that she would, because Dala doesn't strike me as someone who's evil or, someone who's unhinged. And that just senseless slaughter of those people does not make sense to me. I just don't understand the motivation behind it. Like she wants to make a point, hit a military target.
Because even in Darksaber, right? Like she eventually has the backup plan of if they can't agree to that, I'm gonna kill them all. But she still sat in that room with them for 3+ hours, hoping that they would work out their differences and figure out a way that all the warlords could work together.
Right.
She didn't open with "I'm gonna kill them all." She gave them that shot of, okay, talk it out. We'll see if we can work something out here. But if not, then I'm just gonna kill you all. But she didn't lead with that.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it depends on who she's got. But no, I'll have to reread it. I believe you then.
It just seems like it was a cheap, justification shoehorned in there so that what was it, Gantoris, I think, was the guy from Ail Shaw, so that he could, it would explain why he turns, on Luke and goes to Exar Kun, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Okay, all right, I'll reread it. I mean, I'll definitely see. I mean, Kevin Anderson isn't perfect. I'm not going to say that, but I'll definitely reread it and see.
Yeah, he's near perfect. I said Kevin Anderson, near perfect. So.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah, that scene in Darksaber is the coolest. Actually, that was probably the greatest move ever because it eventually put Pelion in charge.
There's a lot of good scenes in Darksaber. The part where Luke he beheads that Wampa by jumping backwards with his lightsaber and slicing it through. I mean, there are some really cool scenes. You know, the new Hoth scene, the way Empire Strikes Back should have been written, with the Wampas, you know, breaking in and attacking everyone like aliens. You know, that's basically what it was. It's such a good scene.
No, this is all jokes. Sorry. To our knowledge, no. An unofficial Nightfall novel does not exist.
Yeah, we were just
No. I mean, the thing is, a lot of those people who wrote that kind of stuff, like what was called Legacy of Dune, Margaret, whatever thing, she wrote it. She doesn't have it anymore. A lot of people just don't have it because they don't have their old hard drives. Because back then, you just threw them. There was no cloud. There was no USB drive. You know, and so it was an old story, deleted, you know, that just uncompleted story that they have plenty of. You know, they probably have the notes of it, but they don't have anything more than that, and they just chucked it because it wasn't going to get used. And so all that stuff, like, you know, your Bitcoin, you know, password got thrown in there, and it's just treasure we'll never see. While you're looking for your cryptocurrency code, you should be looking for those old authors' hard drives too, pulling those uncompleted novels from there. That'd be awesome. Elaine Cunningham's Blood Oath, same thing. Even though that got mentioned in Legacy of the Force, that adventure got mentioned because it was supposed to have happened already in one book. No, I think you're just being a jerk, Scott. I'm kidding. No, I'm fine with that. I know you're not. Okay, I already looked at that one. Yeah, there's a lot of and by the way, where's the website that shows all that? All those unpublished or unfinished.
Is it Joe or Nathan? No, Wikipedia doesn't have it. Is it Joe or Nathan's maybe?
Oh, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, like Wikipedia, you'd have to go and search for the individual work. They might have an article on it. They probably wouldn't have much though. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I mean, Joe has something here. Imperial Commando 2, which we all know. I was going to make it. Shadows of the Empire prequel novel.
It's called Shadow Games.
That's so funny. Son of Palpatine, the book series 7 and 8 of the Jedi Prince series.
I didn't even know that there was extra Jedi Prince that didn't get made.
Well, they were going to do a 7, 8, and 9, but then they said, hey, look, we want to do something more uniform, so we're going to kill your storyline. But it was going to be Shadows of Obi-Wan. And it's that Han and Leia were not going to get married. In the next book, it was going to be broken up by the Imperials. That was everything. Courtship of Princess Leia was a trilogy. Dave Overton originally he signed on to do a trilogy of books, but then just wrote one. Fairy Tales, which John Whitman wrote 2, which were completed, but were lost. They were called Jaina and the Hanadak and the Twin Sons and the Taladin were their titles. Of course, Heart of the Jedi, Legacy of Dune, we talked about. Yeah. New Jedi Order Dark Tide Siege, which was an idea for the second novel, which got changed. That's not really one. So Jedi Order Nightfall. It was called, what was it called? Jedi Storm, Jedi Fire, and Jedi Blood.
Oh, yeah, I guess the New Jedi Order source book, only the one that they actually have out there from, what is it? Is it Wizards? It only covers up to a certain point in the war.
That would make sense depending on when it was published, because New Jedi Order, I think, went till 2003.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit longer than that. I thought New Jedi Order ended in 2005. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it was 99 to 2003, which again blows my mind. Like, think about that. I don't think enough people realize, maybe people with books, but Star Wars and Lucasfilm managed to publish a 19-book series in 4 years.
Yeah, it's very ambitious, and the quality was consistent throughout.
Yeah, that is unheard of. I don't think, and a collaborative series as well, which I guess makes it easier because one person isn't writing all 19 books, but it also has its other issues.
Right.
I thought, I mean, maybe this is me looking back with rose-colored glasses, but I thought that the characterizations were fairly consistent throughout amongst the various authors. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't, the only real New Jedi Order books that I didn't care for that much were the Force Heretic trilogy. I think it was like Shane Dix, Sean Williams.
I think that's universally considered as the worst sub-trilogy, sub-series within New Jedi Order.
Yeah.
But even then, I hesitate to call them bad because it's not like they're bad on their own. It's just I think everything else is so much better.
That's right.
There's Blood Oath.
Who's that on the cover? Is that supposed to be Zek?
That's Zek, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was the Blood Oath book. Some of these got covers, some of them didn't.
That's a nice cover. That draws your eye. That cover.
Oh no, I think it's great. I was excited to see this coming out. I remember when this was going to come out, and I was so excited, but it never did. And that's because she got sick and couldn't complete it in time, missed her deadline, and then eventually they just moved on.
And so she's lost her copy of this. It
was on an old hard drive, and it's gone now. Sadly.
That's too bad.
John Whitman is underrated. I'm sorry, I'm behind in the comments. Lost Worlds. Joe has he has descriptions, but I'm looking at. There's one that used to have all the covers or a little bit more pictures and stuff. Dark Tide Siege. I think so. I don't know if it was drama. Maybe not. Jedi Storm was written, but Jedi Fire were not completed. Yeah. So Jedi Storm was written. According to them, if I believe so, Jedi Fire was in draft stage, meaning it was they'd written it out, but it was very rough. I mean, it wasn't anywhere being completed. It was their first draft, which, as any writer knows, that's a long way from being completed. And Jedi Blood was just only outlines. Or that's what I understood from the authors. But Jedi Storm was ready to go and completed. Jedi Fire was the one they were currently working on, and I believe it was in draft status. In fact, draft status, now that I think about it, that doesn't mean it got completed either. So maybe not even a rough draft had been completed. I'll let the panel answer that.
Isn't what's Scourge? Isn't he like the Emperor's
Lord Scourge? Yeah.
Lord Scourge. He's like the Emperor's hand or something like that.
The Emperor's Wrath.
Wrath. That's what they call him. That's right.
Ooh, I think that's an interesting question because I think the Emperor technically made him immortal.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean,
so I think of course
is it to the death, or is it just who would win in a fight? I have a feeling Darth Malgus would win, but he wouldn't kill. Obviously, he couldn't kill him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Malgus beat the Blade Master Kato Sindarash and Ben Zalo, are his two most notable ones. But I always saw him more as a tactical genius than like an actual duelist. Even though he was good at dueling, I don't know if Scourge is a better duelist than him, but I know Scourge is probably more powerful in the Force. So I think I would still give it to Scourge.
Jim's got that's a good question there. I mean, Stackpole did write New Jedi Order, and that was it for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and an early one too.
And an early one too, yeah, early too. So I'm not really sure, and it's weird that he had trouble collabing with everyone else since he did it so many times with Timothy Zahn. That's just
New
kind
faces,
of wild.
maybe.
Say what?
New faces, maybe. Because from the Bantam era, him, Alston, Zahn, and Kathy Tyers were the only ones they kept. And Kathy was basically a one and
Kathy
done.
just became one too, yeah.
Yeah.
And that may have been very early in. They probably wanted familiar faces, but then and here's the thing, and I understand why you'd switch writers, because Del Rey is a publisher who has contract. They have relationships with different writers than Bantam does, so it makes sense that they would have different authors get a crack at Del Rey, who did not get a. Bantam authors obviously they had their favorites too. Timothy Zahn is too big of a name to say no to. At the beginning, James Luceno came over too. He was pretty strong. Wait, was he in the? No, but he didn't write for.
Luceno wasn't Bantam, and even Zahn, because Zahn's last book was Hand of Thrawn, and then it was Outbound Flight, which I don't think Outbound Flight came out until 2005, 2006.
That's right.
So I think Zahn was out for about 5-6 years by the time he came back.
But the thing was, though, that it makes sense at the beginning to get some authors that you recall that are memorable, so that you can bring in your own authors. And yet, sad that they didn't continue the relationship with those people. But you have your own authors who you like, who you've worked with, and they are calling you. They're probably calling you, going, "Hey, you got the rights to Star Wars? I'd be doing that." And so and I don't mind having new people get a shot at it, because there you go. I mean, who did Del Rey bring in that we'd never seen before that we love? James Luceno, Drew Karpyshyn. You got 2 home run hitters right there.
Greg Keyes,
unsung hero there. You've got the on and off people like John Jackson Miller.
Yeah.
Matthew Stover, Sean Williams, and whoever. Sometimes they were on and sometimes they were off. Well, Steve Perry. Was it Steve? Who wrote Shadows of the Empire?
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry.
He switched over, didn't he?
Yes. He co-wrote
some for Del Rey. So that's another author who came over.
He was on Death Star, was he not?
He was on Death Star, but I think he had it with Michael Reeves.
Michael Reeves.
And I mean, they were on and off. The teams were on and off. But yeah, no. I'll tell you this, someone who wrote short stories that should have gotten their own novel, obviously Ryder Wenham is probably the top person who was not used. I mean, who was done short stories but never made it to novel status. And I'm going to give you another one here. No one remembers her because she wrote in the Tales books, but Jennifer Roberson, her 2 Tales stories, I can't remember what they were very good, very solid. And she is an author because she wrote a Highlander novel that I read, the only author that I could recall. I was like, oh, I know who Jennifer Roberson is. And she did a good job writing within the Highlander universe. So I think she would have done a good job getting the approval to write for Star Wars. So short story wise, is there any other short story people you felt like, man, they deserve a shot?
Abel Pena, maybe?
Oh, Abel G. Pena, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Shadow, that's easy. Luceno.
Who?
Shadow asks Zahn or Luceno.
Yeah, Luceno hands down. There's one author that we don't really talk about all that often. He wrote Destiny's Way, Walter John Williams.
He was good.
He was one of the foundational authors of the cyberpunk movement. Like, he wrote Hardwired, I think, a couple decades back, and it was just really weird to see him write Star Wars. I don't recall Destiny's Way being overly memorable. I remember the scene, obviously, where Luke is like, you're the sort of the Jedi to Jedi and stuff like that.
That was when Akbar came back. That was when Cal Omos is elected, and they restarted the Jedi Council, which was half Jedi, half non-Jedi.
That's right. But I don't remember it being bad either.
Yeah.
So nobody ever talks about Walter John Williams. I think he only wrote 1 Star Wars book, and that was it.
Yeah.
All right. Did we like R.A. Salvatore? I mean, earlier we talked about Forgotten Realms, but as a Star Wars author, I thought he was fine.
He was all right. He has 1 good book and 1 incredibly forgettable book.
Wait, which one's the novelization or the?
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of I apologize. I was confusing it with Approaching Storm. No, he wrote the novelization, not Approaching Storm. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wow, Dylan throwing that shade. But yeah,
No, the
either way
novelization was
though.
good. Oh
Which
yeah,
one?
he's the novelization. You just got me reading again. I just
I mean,
remembered. Yeah, Ari Salvatore is great because that scene in the novelization when Anakin's mom dies and like his inner monologue is all like as like he's processing that is some of the probably one of the best scenes I've ever read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the prequel novelizations were quite good. Like Terry Brooks, obviously, is a huge name, and Matt Stover's Revenge of the Sith is like a work of art. So they really hit it at the park.
Even the Clone Wars novelization was by far and away leagues better than the actual movie.
I mean, maybe, but that's not saying much.
Yeah.
I mean, get out of here. I think I said that
I
too,
felt
but
bad. I felt bad for Karen Travis while I was reading it, and it's like you're trying so hard to make this script work.
Karen Travis did. She tried to make it work. She went, "Wow, this is horrible, and this guy's going to replace me for the Mandalorian stories." That's great.
Is that the one where we were talking about the other night? Ahsoka gets basically put in her place by Pelion. Is that
No, that's Wild Space.
Okay.
No, sorry, not Wild Space. No Prisoners.
This is Wild Space we're talking about, or it's a different?
No, Clone Wars, No Prisoners.
No Prisoners.
That's the thing. Do a versus series. Ahsoka versus a Hujib. Hujib wins.
Hujib wins.
Yeah. I think I said that earlier on how I thought that Ahsoka should die. She trips over a Hujib and breaks her own neck.
Are the Hujibs those little things from the Marvel comics?
Yeah, from the
Okay.
old Marvel comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Unless to think of a sillier creature would probably be at the end. I can't remember what they're called, the Bops or something. The little beetles with the French berets on.
Oh, right.
They were silly too. Maybe one of them just stick their foot out and trip her. I just want an embarrassing death. So that's what I wanted there. But anyway, all right. So I got cranky guy. I got girl trying to chew on power cord again. Someone is not getting Father of the Year award. But anyway, I'm going to have to end it. But I want to thank Dylan for coming in. Dylan, one last time, pitch your twin sons.
Right here, twin-sons.net/donate. We got a fundraiser to bring books to 2 hospitals in the Dallas area. Dallas Scottish Rite, which we have for children, which we have worked with a couple times before, and a brand new one, Children's Medical Center of Dallas. We have currently raised enough to do one of the 2 hospitals. We are just looking for the funds to do the second one. And this one will be headed by the 501st Garrison, the Star Garrison, specifically the North Star section of that garrison, will be delivering these books whenever we get them. We're hoping to have this done and ready by October. So go over to the twin-sons.net/donate and donate what you can.
There you go. All right, so do that, guys. I'll any donations starting from here to when the thing ends, I'll let Brian and Dylan decide what that rate is. They can come on a live stream with me too. So throwing that in there just to kind of boost it up. But all right, well, thank you again. Oh, Marcel, do you need to do any? Do you do videos on your channel?
Yeah, I just started. But
go ahead.
Yeah,
pitch it.
I did a video like a few days ago on George Lucas's involvement in the Tales of the Jedi comics. So, give it a watch because he was I would say actively involved in vetting those storylines, and I did my research on it, and so it's probably all correct, hopefully. But it's on my channel, and hopefully hoping to do more videos in the future. I'm kind of just getting
tell everyone your channel.
I think it's my name, Revanchist, the Revanchist, and then my actual name, Marcel Ryan, in brackets. So awesome. Thank you, Scott, for subscribing to me today. Yeah.
So there is, because we talked about this last time, there's a few channels that say the Revanchist.
Yeah.
So you would be the one
with the Revan
holding the 2 lightsabers.
Lightsabers. That's exactly right. Yeah. And I think it's in my name in brackets, Marcel Ryan. So that's how you would know it was me.
No, that's not it. With Revan, unless you do a lot of Mafia.
No, I am Italian, but no, that's not my thing.
Hold on. Now I'm trying to find your channel. Why didn't I subscribe to it?
I think you are subscribed to it. Or at least
I didn't get a reminder of this video you're talking about.
At least you told me last time that you subscribed to it. But
I thought I had to.
Okay. Now you find out that I actually am with the Mafia, and I took personal offense to that. So.
Okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. I see another Revan.
Yeah.
Picture. Hold on, let me see. No videos on this channel. Never mind. It's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Alex for convincing me to actually make the videos in the first place.
Oh yeah, I'm always interested in.
I can
send another one, but he has a loaf of bread in his hands. That's not him.
I can send you the link in a private chat if you want.
Well, send me it and I'll put it in the chat here.
Sure.
Goodness gracious. So I'll get this out to everyone. Oh. I lost my subscription to Stupid Chainsaw Productions too recently, Dylan. Because he kept saying about stuff. It's like, I'm not getting those reminders. So I may have been clicking around stuff and I unsubbed. I don't know how. Because I was the one that gave him the idea for his Walk Without Rhythm title.
I threw up the link in the private chat to my most recent video. So
all right. So here's the link to the most recent video.
You can disseminate it in the comments. There you go.
There it is.
Smash that like button or whatever.
Smash that like button. Hit that bell for notifications.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else. No, I am subscribed.
Yeah. See, I told you.
I didn't get a reminder for this.
Maybe you didn't hit that
just recently too.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago. I also have a podcast, Legends of the Jedi. I don't update it frequently. It's like maybe like every 5 weeks, but it's just basically an audio drama retelling of the Tales of the Jedi and KOTOR comics eventually, and eventually after that the video games, insofar as one could adapt them into a drama.
Oh no. There it is. There it is. It came out that day.
Yeah, give it a watch.
Wow. Okay, I will. I just missed it. I did get a notification for it. Dang. Okay. My bad. Oh well. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you everyone. Nothing new on my channel except for daily rereads. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And don't forget about Batman Day, September 17th.